Good afternoon, Presidents-elect. Thank you for joining us for the Making the Most of PLS webinar. We're very excited and delighted that you have attended, or you're attending the webinar today, and we hope you walk away feeling excited and energized and ready, prepared to attend PLS in April. We cannot wait to meet each of you. Very excited. Today's webinar, before we get started, I just want to make sure if you haven't participated in a webinar recently, you can certainly do so by opening and closing your your panel, your GoToWebinar panel on the right side view. You can see a hand raised. If you would like to raise your hand and ask a question, please feel free to do so throughout. We will take questions at the end as well, but please, if you have something and you want to, we will unmute you. Just do so by raising your hand, or you can type in a question, submit a text question through the questions box. Myself and another team member will be watching for those questions as well, and we hope that you will certainly engage. If you have any thoughts or questions, or please do so, share those with us. We will be recording the webinar, and we'll be sharing that later on this week. We'll send the recording out, so if you want to go back, you can certainly do that. I want to go ahead and get it started and welcome the chair of PLS, the President's Leadership Symposium. I'm a little tongue-tied, sorry about that. Alethea Odell. Thank you, Alethea.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. We also want to recognize Barbara Stiles, who is the past PLS chair, incoming chair, Bethany Smith, and of course, Mary Cruz, who is our staff liaison and helps coordinate this amazing event. You don't know it yet, but this 3-day event will be something you remember for the rest of your life, and you will meet people and establish relationships that some of you are going to find your best friend, and many of you will have lifelong colleagues as a result of this 3-day event. So I also have the honor of introducing Nancy Bushray, and I apologize, I'm not good with names if I said that incorrectly, but Nancy is going to be president when you guys are president, and she can share a little bit about PLS from her experience as well.
Hello, everyone. I am as excited as all of you are to be in this role. Excited, kind of with quotes around it. I am happy, but I'm also have a little bit of trepidation because anytime you step into a leadership role, you have to really dig down deep into yourself and get that enthusiasm and that confidence to really take yourself forward and lead the team that you are working with. I have a wonderful staff to help me here at SMPS. I have amazing PLS chairs and other people involved in putting on the President's Leadership Symposium, so I'm very excited. I'm looking forward to meeting each and every one of you this year and getting to know you in our 3 days and sharing or hearing from you ideas that work for you and sharing ideas that work for me as well. It's been a while since I have been a president-elect of a chapter, but I still remember my first PLS and how much I learned at that time. It was just 1 day, so I didn't have the ability to make as many friends as all of us are going to make in a few weeks. So I am again happy to have you all on my team, and I look forward to making friends with each and every one of you, and I hope that at some point I'll be able to connect a name and a face and not embarrass myself somewhere down the year. So I'll let Alethea and Bethany and Barb take this back.
Okay, so this is a team effort, and we've been working really hard based on the feedback from your surveys to create a program. And one of the main things that has come back from the survey was that people are really concerned with motivating volunteers. And so we've built this entire team that you see on this slide. Myself, Bethany, Barbie, Don Savage, who's the chapter delegate on the national level, Nancy, Mary Cruz, Natalie, Dan, Julio, and Tina have worked really hard to develop a program with that kind of theme in mind, as well as other issues that you presented in the survey. So we thank you for taking the survey, and we hope that we all get to spend 3 days really covering the issues that you care about most. And Mary, do we know, so I'm going to introduce 2 people who attended PLS last year, and that is Eric Keynes and Ashia Warren. We were having a little bit of technical difficulty, but we're hoping that they are on the call and they will tell you more about why PLS will be an experience you won't forget. Eric,
Ashia?
Ashia? Yeah, is Ashia on? Did she make it?
I do see she's in the waiting room, Alethea.
Okay.
She may be trying to dial in. And Eric, I see, is in the waiting room, but I think is working on his audio. So we hope we can have them join very shortly. They're going to be sharing their stories, their experience about PLS, and before, how they prepared, during, and after. So we do hope they'll be able to join us momentarily. So we'll keep an eye on that. And Alethea, we're going to go on, and we'll come back and check on them in just a few moments.
Okay.
So before you arrive, we want to make sure, just a few housekeeping items, that you have completed your registration and your yearbook. The yearbook, we'll dive into that in just a moment, but it's a great way to connect and learn ahead of time more about your peers, who will be coming, and it's a fun way to, and you'll always use that. You'll have it at your desk, I promise you, following PLS. It'll be your go-to lifeline to connect with your peers. So make sure you've completed your registration and your yearbook information. Of course, send your headshot along. That'll be a part of the yearbook. And your hotel reservation. We did extend the deadline to book your reservation. I think there's only 3 president-elects who have registered but have not yet booked their reservation. So please make sure that you go to, we've placed several of the links in the emails. You can certainly reach out to myself, Mary at smps.org, or Dan Riley, who's helping with logistics for the program, and he can be reached at dan at smps.org. So if you have any questions at all regarding the hotel, the location, it's very close to Reagan National Airport, just a few moments cab ride or shuttle ride. The shuttle hotel does have a shuttle. So we're happy to provide you with any information regarding the Old Town area, the hotel as well. So our yearbook, when you register, we did ask for some information, a little bit more on each one of the president-elects. One, of course, we have your contact information, but fun things that you could share with your peers and the board and the PLS group committee. Your pet peeves, great idea that you have, and those most memorable SMPS moments, favorite pastime. So again, it's just a great way to start connecting with your peers ahead of time, and you'll use this document throughout. So we were waiting on just a few presidents-elect to get us their information, so we're near completion for the yearbook, and we'll be sending that out very, very soon. So look for that within the next few days. And now I'm going to turn it back over to Alethea to share a little bit about preparing prior to PLS.
Yeah, so, you know, preparing for your presidency starts now, if it hasn't started already, and, you know, it won't begin and end with PLS, so we just want to cover some of the details to think about in terms of before you arrive in Alexandria. So it would be great for you to meet with your board prior to PLS if you haven't already, and that can be your existing board as well as those people, if you haven't already gone through your nomination process, which don't panic if you haven't. Lots of chapters haven't, but with the people that you are considering to be a part of your board, and just have some discussion about what challenges you might want to tackle in the next year, and what's working in your chapter and what's not working, just so you have some ideas of things that you want to address during PLS, because there will be a lot of roundtables and sharing, and the whole idea is to have you guys there to learn from each other as well as the speakers that we put together. You're going to want to review your chapter bylaws and strategic plan, or annual plan, or goals if you have one. And this will be really important and will likely bring up a lot of questions in preparation for PLS. Also, you will want to you don't have to have the meeting, but you probably want to put on the schedule a half-day meeting with the board that we like to call bringing it home, so that everything that you learn and the ideas that get generated as a result of your participation in PLS, you can bring that back, and it can help set you up for success for the year to come, and engaging your board early to help them to get on board with your ideas and your vision. You want to bring questions, ideas, and challenges that you're having. Really, this is 3 days to tackle your biggest concerns during that time, and we want you to connect with your fellow PLS colleagues as well as with us. So, we have a group on Facebook. There's also a MySMPS community. That's largely going to be a library of resources for you guys as we go forward, and you can also download the MySMPS app.
Thank you, Alicia.
Sure.
And we did have, before we go on, Ashia and Eric have been able to join us, so we're going to test this again. Let's go back. Ashia, are you on? I'm sorry, folks. Ashia, I see that we've unmuted your line. You may need to unmute your own line. And Eric, how about you? Are you able to connect audio? Eric, you're on.
This is Eric. Can you hear me?
We sure can. Welcome.
All right. How are you?
Can you hear me?
Ashia, yay! We have you both. Okay. Ashia, I know you were, we planned to have you go first, so why don't you go ahead and kick us off?
Okay, great. My name is Ashia Warren. I am the current president of the Dallas chapter. And the past president of the Dallas chapter. I think that's one of my unique experiences, is that I got the pleasure of attending PLS twice, back to back in 2015 and 2016. So as far as my PLS experiences, I think that the key thing is just being open to hearing the ideas and input from your other PLS colleagues from the standpoint of different chapters do things differently, especially from a size and a geographic standpoint, and there are various considerations that we all have to be mindful of, and you'll pick up good relationships and good connections with those people, but you'll be able to see where you can scale up or scale down or just sharing ideas. And you'll also see a lot of similarities in concerns, and frustrations is a strong word, but concerns and areas of growth are kind of universal throughout the SMPS membership, and so each of those chapter presidents will probably bring similar concerns and solutions that you can leverage in your own local area.
Thank you, Ashia, for sharing. And Eric?
Sure.
Okay, great points, Ashia, and it was great meeting you last year also. It's funny that it was just about a year ago that we met, and it still seems like yesterday that we were there going through the learning sessions and totally immersed in the PLS experience. But again, just like yesterday, so I kind of just took down some notes in preparing for this call, and just wanted to run through some things I did to prepare, making the most of PLS, and then kind of what to do with that information when you get back to your chapter. So in preparing, I reviewed our bylaws. I reviewed them again. I know, as most of you, you've been on the board for a fair amount of time and have gone over different issues with the bylaws, but now you have to understand every portion of the bylaws, so it's really important to go through those. Understanding the budgets. I was not treasurer before taking this position, but I did look over the last several years' budgets, and I even brought the most recent copy of our bylaws. I brought the most recent budget, and had questions ready for headquarters staff, the PLS team, other chapter leaders and board members, and also to go with the questions, I kind of brought a list of what works through lessons learned that I could bring and offer to other chapters. And of course, review the yearbook. The photos are going to be invaluable when you meet people and you're walking down the hall and kind of feel like you should know somebody's name. One fun stories, I did try to get there early, so just make sure your Uber driver takes you to the hotel in Alexandria and not DC as you're furiously answering emails in the back seat. Lesson learned. Making the most of it, you have many resources in your chapter, I'm sure, including past presidents and longtime members, but make the relationships with those that are learning and leading alongside you in your year. Use your network that you develop when planning, brainstorming, just bouncing ideas off of, or looking for advice. But also, as Ashia said, keep an open mind. Again, you've probably been on the board for quite a while, but your learning never stops. And talking to people all over PLS, regardless of chapter size or location, everybody has some great nuggets of wisdom or can really trigger something in you that you didn't know is going to help you throughout your year. And then kind of what to do when you get back. PLS can be a bit overwhelming. You're going to learn a lot. You're going to meet a lot. It's going to be quite a busy time, but it's also actually one of the most exciting times also as you gear up for your year. So hopefully you do come back as energized as I do, or as I did. But with all the information that's coming at you and you're sharing, keep a notebook handy. Create a cheat sheet of items that you don't want to forget. Review that sheet periodically and adjust it, but don't throw it away. You wrote these things down for a reason, so please address them. Share everything you get while at PLS with your board. You'll get chapter management manuals for membership, awards and sponsorship, communications, kind of the whole board facility, and share those with everyone. You're being given the tools to succeed, so use them, share them, provide a download of what you learned in your experience with your fellow board members. You never know how far some of your fellow members or leaders are going to go. And the last thing I wanted to share is when I first got on the board, it was 2009, and I heard names being thrown around like Mary Cruz and Tina Myers and headquarters and society level, and honestly didn't have as much of an understanding of the entire organization and how it runs and the members that are leading it besides leading at the chapter level. So one thing I tried to do is have a headquarters staff or board member introduce themselves at our board meetings and just say who they are, what their role is at headquarters, any upcoming initiatives or resources that they can provide. And a fun fact, there's a lot of resources out there, and again, look beyond your chapter, look at the society level, look at the headquarters staff. There's a wealth of information, but again, just enjoy PLS most of all. It's going to be a very exciting time. It'll be over before you know it, and September will be here. So good luck to everybody, and thank you. Sorry if I was long-winded.
That's perfect, Eric. It's great information. And Ashia, thank you so much for joining us. And at this time, if any of the president-elects on the call have a question for Eric or Ashia, go ahead and raise your hand, and I'll be sure to unmute you. I'll give you just a few moments. Okay, no questions at this time. Thank you both for joining us and sharing your experience and story. And I'm sure if you would like to reach out following the call to Eric or Ashia, they'd be happy to share more with you and help you, guide you through the process. So thank you both.
You're welcome.
Okay, we've covered during the conference, prior to conference, what you should be preparing for. Now let's talk a little bit about during the conference. So I'm going to talk to the program. You received, and it's been communicated, the schedule at a glance. If you notice in your toolbar, we did attach 2 documents, PDFs. You'll find the full program there and also these slides for today's call. And we will be emailing the program out again following within the next few days along with the yearbook. But I will go ahead up and just briefly jump through the program. Knowing that you'll be arriving Thursday, the registration opens at 9 to 10 a.m. We will kick it off sharply at 10 a.m. So please make sure you're ready to go, you're seated, and the team will begin right at 10 with a welcome, we'll have introductions and icebreakers, get to know each other. Nancy Ussery will share the strategic vision of the society, along with Michael Geary, our CEO. We will have lunch. All lunches are on site, so Thursday and Friday lunch will be provided, and that will be on site at the property. Carolyn Ferguson will join us, the foundation, SMPS Foundation president. She will talk to you a little bit about the foundation and the research that they've been working on. Then we'll go into a SMPS board panel. So the society board is available. They will all be in attendance at PLS as well as the staff. And Mike Geary will facilitate a board panel. So you can hear from them, their career, how they've gone through being a member of SMPS and getting to the next level, also serving at the society level. So any questions that you have related to career advancement, related to SMPS, they'll be there to answer and engage with you. Then our chairs, Alethea, Barbara, and Bethany, will share expectations of you as a president. Great presentation. We'll have a 30-minute break. My apologies, let me go back up. We'll have a 30-minute break, and then our featured program will kick off. We've invited 2 speakers to be a part of PLS, Susan Murphy. Some of you may know her, some of you may not. She has a great program on presentation, conducting yourself with authority, and it's very engaging, and she will also talk to motivating volunteers and members. So you won't want to miss that. We'll wrap up Thursday around 5:30, and then we will have a dinner together, a reception, I should say, at a local Columbia Firehouse. So it will have heavy hors d'oeuvres, beer and wine, and an opportunity to network and get to know each other. Moving on to Friday, we'll start promptly at 8 again with not too early. We reduced it. It used to be 7:30, 7 o'clock, so we've allowed everybody to sleep in a little bit better, a little bit more here. Starting at 8 a.m., we'll have breakfast in the room where we will be presenting. Our next featured program will be Susan Murphy again on leadership. And new last year, we started with resource roundtables, and they are so wonderful. So much good information is shared and ideas. This gives you an opportunity to really get to know and ask questions of your peers, of other chapters. And so we have 8 topics on membership, education, certification, finance, communications, sponsorship, the Chapter Awards Program, Striving for Excellence in Chapter President of the Year, and volunteer recruitment and management. So we will spend 2 hours moving and discussing. Staff will be there to present for about 10 minutes at the beginning of each roundtable, and then you'll have 20 minutes on each topic to really ask questions and take down some great ideas. So we'll be sharing. Other staff members will be seated to take notes and to capture all of those great ideas so that you really have, so that you're just engaging and listening and sharing. And we'll be sure to share all of those great ideas once they're compiled following PLS. Then we'll go into lunch. We have a beautiful courtyard at this property, so we're hoping to get out into the nice sun and get some fresh air during lunch, a networking lunch. We'll wrap up again with the roundtables and then a break. We'll move on to the finance and administration. A very important and key element of being a president is understanding finances, your budget, and those must-dos. So Tina, Antonio, and Chris Rickman, who is the Secretary-Treasurer on the Society Board, will be sharing and presenting. Then Don Greco will be with Craig Galati, our Society President. Don is the chapter delegate, and they will be sharing how to plan for your year, putting together a strategic plan, goal setting, and really impacting, being an impactful leader. So that should be a great program. We'll wrap up Friday around 5 o'clock. We'll mosey on over across the street to our open house, which is at SMPS headquarters, so you can see where the staff works, but it just gives us an opportunity also to have a fun networking, some appetizers and beverages before you go out to Restaurant Roundup. Saturday will begin at 8 p.m. with breakfast. We will move on to governance and volunteer engagement, another very important topic. Mary Abijay is joining us. She's the principal of Career Stone Group and is fantastic. She will lead us in a presentation and engagement on critical conversation skills for volunteer leaders. It's an outstanding program, so you definitely want to stay through Saturday. I can't emphasize that enough. And the class name, of course, each year, the class, you have an opportunity. It's a really fun part of the class, but giving yourself a name. It becomes a tattoo later on that we'll talk about at another time which is nice and fun. So please make sure you're there for that, and we'll wrap up right about noon so that you can head out to either enjoy the city, possibly visit DC, but you'll be on your own afternoon. So that's just a quick overview of the program, and again, it's attached to this webinar, and we'll send it out following that. Just to know that this program is very busy. We do have breaks in, of course, lunches, and if you need to get away to connect with your family, obviously do so in your work, but we try to disconnect if you can, to really engage in this program. It's going to be a busy program, but I do promise you we will provide you with all of the information so that you just really can be present and to listen and participate. We will have a flash drive. All of the materials that we'll be presenting and talking about, we will have available for you. So very exciting about that. And please know that Old Town is a gorgeous area. There are a lot of brick walkways, and so just being careful about, wearing casual clothing. This is informal, and making sure you have appropriate shoes. We have had casualties, I think, every year with some bumps and bruises. So please make sure you wear comfortable shoes. The weather should be around mid-60s to 70s. And I'm going to turn this over to Barbara.
Hi, everyone. I'm Barbara Stiles. I am the outgoing PLS chair. So this is my third year of being on the PLS committee, and I've enjoyed every second of it, and I know that you guys are going to enjoy every second of your PLS experience. The best thing, and always the biggest thing that people get out of PLS is the connections that they make with the other president-elect. So it's really important that you get to know your peers. This is really going to be the group of people that you turn to during your year as president, asking questions and venting and all of the other things that you do with your best friends. These are going to be your PLS best friends for a year. So it's important that you get to know as many of them as possible. Make sure you're sitting with different people every day. Don't always go to the same people to sit with. Mix it up and get to know everybody, because you never know where that one nugget of information is going to come from. And you can get those nuggets by having meaningful conversations with people. So make sure you're engaging with people, asking questions, getting information, as she has said earlier, share, because you may be able to give somebody else information that they didn't know that they were going to get, and as well as you picking up nuggets. I would say the hardest thing to do, because I know it's hard for me to do, and I'm on the committee, so I know it's going to be really hard for some of you, is to unplug from work as much as possible. You really need to do your best to unplug. If you have the capability and the ability to do this, set the expectation before you leave that you're not going to be available every second of the day while you're gone. As you saw in the programs, the day starts really early at 8 o'clock and it ends really late. For some of you, it'll be after dinner. For those of you who are going out enjoying the social scene in Alexandria after dinner, it could be even later than that. So just be sure that you try to set that expectation so that you can be present and be in the moment of everything that's happening at PLS. And then, of course, the biggest thing is to have fun, which we will make sure that you have fun. Don't worry about it. It won't be all work. There will be some play involved also. And now we're going to move on and talk a little bit about how to bring your PLS experience home. Eric talked about it for a few minutes, and Bethany is going to give you some more pointers and tips.
Thank you, Barbara. This is Bethany Smith. I am the incoming PLS chairperson, and I'm really excited to be a part of your experience this year. I should thank Eric for actually covering most everything you see up here, so I'm glad that he was able to reiterate how important a lot of this is. As he mentioned, the first thing that you're going to want to do when you get back is disseminate all this information out to your team. You are
going to be learning a lot of things. You're going to get a lot of tools that are going to be helpful not just to you but to your entire board. So hopefully between now and PLS you can actually go ahead and take some time to get those meetings set up. That way you're not scrambling once you get back. When you get back from PLS, you think, oh, it's just April and my year doesn't start till September, but things will really start to move quickly for you. So getting as much of that time scheduled right now as you can will be great. And then think about how you want to have that meeting. Think about how you communicate, how you like to be communicated with, and then make sure you know that about your board as well. Some of you, it may make sense to have one-on-one meetings with individual members of your board to talk specifically about information you learn that could assist them. Others might find that you want to skip right to a full-on half-day, let's go over everything I learned at PLS kind of meeting. I think that this comes down to you knowing your board and yourself and how you guys can work together as a group through this. Make sure, as Eric mentioned, having some kind of a notebook or some place to keep all this information as you're going through PLS will be vital for you. If you're anything like me, if I don't write something down, it's like it never existed in the first place. So having some place to keep your notes, to make special notes for yourself about things. Oh, I need to make sure I tell Jane this, and I need to make sure Ryan knows that, or whatever will help you in sharing this information with the rest of the board when you get back. I know, as Mary's mentioned several times, and others have mentioned, you're going to be getting a lot of different materials throughout this. You'll have everything that you need. You won't have to worry about making copies, or of the stuff that you're given. We'll make sure that you have everything electronically or any other way. The staff will be making sure that notes are being taken during the roundtable sessions, which are probably the most fast-paced part of your PLS experience, and we'll make sure that all the ideas get taken down for you and get disseminated back out to everybody who is at PLS so that you can share those with your team. And remember, just think of those as starting points or a jumping off place to help you develop ideas that will work with your individual chapter. Every chapter is different, every community is different. You guys definitely know what works best for your chapter, so you'll be able to take these and use them as a springboard going forward to plan your year. Again, this will also help your board plan for your strategic planning session and then on to your actual summer planning session that you should have for the year. So what we're saying here is, you're going to want to have a strategic planning session, and that's going to be around your goals and everything. Then you're also going to want to have a session where you're actually planning what your year is going to look like. So one's a little bit more abstract than the other, but that will help you prepare for the year. And speaking of strategic planning, at this point I'm going to turn it over to Mary, I believe, to talk a little bit more about that part for you.
Thank you, Bethany. As Alicia and Bethany and others have alluded to, it sounds there's quite a bit of work before you, and this is really just successful practices. I know it sounds like a lot. It can sound overwhelming already, but it really is smart to go ahead and get your planning sessions scheduled as they've talked to. I think first and foremost, the three most important things are to go ahead and get your debrief, your PLS debrief scheduled in the month of May. Then look to possibly in June having your planning, as Bethany just talked to, your actual strategic planning or goal setting meeting. Once you've debriefed and given all the information to your team members and really have them engage and dive into it and have them share what they've learned themselves by looking at the material. Make sure that they're actually diving into it and absorbing it. Then they can share what those ideas, what are the bottlenecks with your chapter or the challenges you're facing, and from the materials and the information that was brought back, how can they apply it in the goal setting session. So I want you to know there's you have a support here. If your chapter has not conducted a strategic planning or goal setting session, your annual, you may already have a plan. It could be a 1-year annual or a 3-year or 5-year. We recommend chapters really just look annually at what your goals are. Do you need to make adjustments, adding those time-bound, making sure that someone owns each one of those goals or objectives that you have. So with that, we are here as a staff. We have materials that can help. We have a strategic planning toolkit. The staff here can walk you through the process and provide you statistics and things to look at for your chapter. What are the demographics of your chapter? And also our board members, Dawn Greco, again, or Savage. I said that twice. She recently was married. Her last name is now Savage. Dawn Savage is, again, the chapter delegate and happy. You can reach out to her if you'd like one of us to help facilitate your planning session, your strategic planning session. Please let us know. But what's in front of you on the slide is really just what you should be thinking about, planning and setting that up now, possibly in the month of June or July, whatever works best for your chapter. It should be a full half-day or a full-day meeting. Don't try to plan this for 2 hours. There's just a lot that's going to be needed to cover, and you want to engage your new board members and possibly those that are outgoing. You want them to be a part of this SMART goal planning and brainstorming. Make sure you survey your members sometime during the summer, maybe once you come back from PLS. Make sure you have the data you need from your members so that you know, and your non-members. And we're happy to help you with that. We've got resources, SurveyMonkey accounts that we can help with. Review and know the society mission and goals and the vision of the society. It's on the society website. We'll be providing that to you as well in your materials, but just make sure you're looking it over and you can align your chapter's goals and mission and vision with the society's. Review current tactics and goals. Like I said, your chapter may already have a document or a plan that you've been going by. Make sure you're looking at that ahead of time, and you can make adjustments as you go through your planning session. Work with your board and volunteers. Make sure you engage them. Get their input, even if it's just send me an email with 3 goals you want to achieve this year. It doesn't have to be so formal, but you want to make sure you engage all of your volunteers. Again, SMPS staff and board are here to direct and provide support, as well as the society board. Making sure you capture everything. Once you've had your meeting, simply putting it in an Excel spreadsheet, an action plan with who is responsible for that goal, and it's time-bound. It could change as you're looking at this plan in your board meetings. Hopefully you'll take a look at it. It won't just get put together and then saved somewhere that's not brought to your board meetings. Make sure you're bringing it to your board meetings and you're circulating it from time to time, and you're reevaluating where you're at. Dawn, again, Greco, and Craig Galati will be speaking to this, and really will dive into best practices for planning and strategic planning. And so you'll learn more about that at PLS. This is just a brief overview. And we're coming near the end, so again, if you have any questions, please go ahead and type those in now. Raise your hand. We'll make sure we have some time at the end, which we're about to approach now. So go ahead and raise your hand if needed, and Natalie or I will unmute you. Can't emphasize enough to stay connected. To get onto that Facebook page. If you're not a member of the group, please let us know. You can shoot me a message. Julio Santos, who's on the team, Julio at smps.org. You can shoot him an email. If you can't find the group and you haven't been able to connect, we'll help you with that. But please start asking questions of your peers now. Post things that you're doing to prepare for PLS. Put it up there. This is what I'm doing. I'm meeting with my teams. Share. I can't tell you and emphasize enough after PLS how these classes stay connected, and what Alethea spoke to. They'll become your lifeline, your best friends, your, the first person you go to, even if it's a personal or professional question, not even related to governance. Certainly know that they're there for you. So stay connected. The MySMPS community, if you're familiar with MySMPS, there will be a PLS class for you. All of the documents that we're talking about, presentations, any resource that's available and pertinent to helping you will be saved in that library. So you'll use that also and as a resource. And reach out to headquarters staff ahead of time if you need support, you have questions. The society board and the PLS committee members, Bethany, Alethea, Barbara, are all available. So just reiterating that we're all here for you, and we cannot wait to meet you and connect and grow together. So at this time, I'm going to open it up for questions, or if there's anything else the committee would like to share. Natalie, do you have any questions?
Sure, we do. We have a couple questions that came in. One of the attendees, one of our PEs, I should say, would like to know if a recording of this will be made available, and I can take that question. We are recording this right now, and we will put a copy of the recording within your PLS community of My SMPS, and we'll also push it out to you all via email after the program today. We have another question for the committee. How critical is it to have the board identified before PLS?
This is Alethea. I can speak to that, and if anyone wants to jump in. It's a good idea to kind of think about. If you haven't thought about whom you want on your team, it's never too early to think about that. I went into PLS not having any idea well, I had some idea, but my board was not solidified at all. So, you know, I think it's important to think about what you want to accomplish and what the challenges are that you have ahead of you, and who might be the right people to help you accomplish that. That's the most important thing. And there are official processes, as Mary will probably speak to.
Right, and so I think what the question may be also talking to is most chapters right now are going through their nominations and elections process. So you may not know exactly who your incoming board is quite yet, and hopefully per the model chapter bylaws, I know chapters vary across when their nominations and elections process happens. So they may not be fully identified prior to PLS. Sometimes, as Alethea talked to, board members are certainly talking to members to encourage them to submit an application for the board. So you may have an idea of who unofficially may be. And so having conversations with them or just talking to your current board members, past board members, engaging your fellows, those very highly engaged members, even reaching out, having coffee, talking to them from their perspective. So I don't know that it's highly critical that, it's identified before you get to PLS, but certainly making sure once your board is in place that you're really disseminating and sharing all that information, and you're engaging them in that planning session that you'll have midsummer.
Thanks, Mary. We have another question, rather broad in scope, so I'll ask the committee to answer this one. What would most presidents say is their biggest challenge in their presidency?
Bethany or Barbie, you wanna? Yeah.
Yeah. So this is Barbie Styles. So it's interesting, but I think a lot of times what you hear is it's motivating your board and your committee members and keeping them engaged all year. Everybody is excited at the beginning of the year, and then when, as they say, the rubber meets the road and you're trying to do your SMPS work along with everything else, sometimes that enthusiasm can wane. And it happens to us as presidents. We have that too. So I think it's just being able to keep your finger on the pulse of your boards and your committees, and keeping everybody excited and motivated, and giving them that little push or rah-rah speech or whatever you want to call it when things don't seem to be going so well, or finding out what kind of assistance they need and being able to provide it. I think that's something that every president has to deal with, no matter how fabulous their chapters are.
This is Bethany, and I will add to that and say it's also understanding all of the different personalities that you're working with, and embracing the fact that you are going to be a part-time psychologist. You are going to be, you're dealing with all these different people who communicate in all different ways, who learn in all different ways. and most likely they're all type A and outspoken, or very confident. So you end up playing mediator a little bit, and you end up helping talk somebody off a ledge because they want to have everything done yesterday, and they just need to take a deep breath or whatever. So it's take the time to get to know the people on your board individually. When I was a president, I had 15-minute, 20-minute check-ins every month with everybody on my board over the phone, just a real quick, outside of anything else that we were discussing, just to say, how are you doing? How are you feeling? Do you have everything you need? Just so I could get to know them a little bit more, but then also to Barbie's point, so that they would know that I was there to try to support them and help them stay motivated.
And, we focus a lot on the people part, and that is probably one of the most critical responsibilities that a president has. But I think a common fear is also, like, how am I going to take on this huge responsibility and do my job? And it's really important to remember that as president, you're not the doer of everything that gets accomplished by your chapter. What you really are trying to do, or what a president does, is put the people in place that can motivate other people as well to get things done. But I think there is a lot of fear about how am I, or a lot of concern, how am I going to do this and do my job as well. So really finding the people and finding within yourself the people skills to manage this whole process for the year is really important. And you have lots of resources and guidelines and that are there to assist you.
And Eric, I unmuted you as a president. If there's anything you'd like to share.
I heard that you unmuted me, and absolutely. Alisa, those were great points. It's not tough, but you do have to choose the right people and keep them motivated and realize and understand that this is a voluntary position and weigh that into how things go for the year. However, they are in that position to take care of certain items and certain tasks. So it's not up to the president to take care of all of those items. It's your position is to lead the entire team, and hopefully you have the right people in place to keep that team moving along. And everybody that's on this call has been in a board position before. Just realize that when you're in a board position and you have a certain responsibility, whether membership, secretary, treasurer, whatever, now you're kind of looking at the whole picture, and just keep that in mind and don't get overwhelmed. It's totally doable, and if you're actually at this point, then you're motivated, professional, and you'll have the resources and the help to get this done. So hang in there.
Natalie, do we have any other questions?
We do. I'm seeing one more question. I know you touched on this earlier, Mary. Perhaps you want to share again how our PEs are going to come up with their class name at PLS.
Oh, it's so fun. We have some really cool names in the past. P3s. Natalie, you could probably give them a few examples.
Seventh domain, all the way.
Seventh domain.
Free radicals. That's
conductors.
Yeah.
The conductors. And then last year, because we had so it was interesting, at the property, the hotel last year, we kicked it off with a fire in the building. Actually, it was in the garage. And a lot of our PEs, literally, it was very early in the morning, were coming up. Some were still sleeping. Some had just got out of the shower. It was quite interesting. So we were actually out on the street, not able to go back in the building for about, what was it, a couple of hours, Barbie?
Yeah, it was so like almost 3 hours.
So we brought everybody to the headquarters office and had some coffee and got some breakfast, and it was a memory we will always have. It was fun. Everybody was very understanding, but that class name became Inferno. Is that right, Natalie?
Enfuego.
Enfuego. Not Inferno. Enfuego. Sorry. So it's a fun process. So we will talk about it when you arrive. We'll share some of the other names. A lot of times it's inspired by a presentation you may hear or a quote or something that comes out of your class that inspires you. So we'll talk about it at the beginning of the conference to have you thinking about it. We will have boards up and flip charts for you to go when you're feeling it, just to go up and write a name, an example. During the reception here at the headquarters, we'll have them up again, so in case something comes to you. And then we vote on it. So towards the end, usually, gosh, there's usually 30 to 40 names up there, and some can be quickly maybe ruled out, or then we vote, and your class will vote on it towards on the last day on Saturday. So it's fun, and there'll be a logo contest for it. So whatever name is selected, your peers, the PEs, will have an opportunity to come up with a cool design, which will then become tattoos that we apply at Build Business. We have PLS class reunions. So we invite you to that. We have a nice reception at our Build Business annual conference every year. So you will be invited to attend this year in Indianapolis. We're hoping that you will attend Build Business. And it's mid-July, so we will have your tattoos by then, and you'll come to this fun reception, and you'll be branded. So again, it's another opportunity. And moving forward, at each Build Business, we'll continue to have annual reunions for you. So that's what that's all about. So if there are no other questions, I don't see any at this time. I just want, again, to thank you all for taking the time to participate today, for serving the society and your chapter, for agreeing to serve as president. And I can't express what a wonderful experience it's going to be, having that leadership experience, management experience, delegating. You're going to learn. We'll hopefully be able to really we will have a rich program, I know that, but I hope that you'll walk away feeling energized and ready to plan and lead your year. This is a great experience. You're going to connect, and we're all excited to meet you and for you to come. So thank you all, and Alicia, I'll turn it over to you to close us out.
I just want to say, again, that this is really a remarkable experience you're going to have, and anyone who knows me knows that I'm not a highly excitable person in general, but I really have a great love of PLS because of the impact it had on my own development. You're not going to get every single thing that you want out of PLS because it's 3 days, but you will get everything that you need out of it. You will get the connections and the resources and the tools. For other introverts out there like me, and even the extroverts, I think this can be exhausting because it is jam-packed with resources. So when I say you may not get everything you want, you may not get all the networking time you want, you may not get all the quiet time you need to restore and refresh. So it's important to take care of yourself and do the kinds of things that you need to be fully engaged throughout this process. But you will definitely get connected to the resources and the people who will drive you through success in the coming year as president. So we're really looking forward to having you and for doing this together.
Thank you, Alicia. Thank you, Barbara and Bethany, Natalie, for all the speakers today. You guys have a great day. We will see you in April. Please contact us with any questions you have. And this concludes our webinar. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.